about life and know all about film and TV. I'm Nicole.
I'm Karen.
I'm really excited about this show, guys. It's gonna be fun. It's a little quick summary. After the corporate love fest that is Valentine's Day, I am very, very excited to focus on a different kind of love that doesn't get represented as much for Valentine's Day, and that's platonic love. It's one of my favorite types of love. I don't know why. I just love love that's not about sex. It's cool. We have a wonderful guest with us, Tony Lynn.
Hey. Woo, thank you for being here, Tony Lynn Sudeco.
I love you both.
Tony on Top Productions.
Oh, goodness.
Let me tell you all a little bit about Tony Lynn. Tony Lynn is a Pinay Pinoy filmmaker, film producer, educator, and producer based in New York City, originally from the Bay Area. She reps the Bay Area very, very hard.
Do you like Kehlani?
I love her.
She's so
Is Kehlani
hard.
from the Bay Area?
Yeah, she is. She reps them hard.
Yep.
Man, I didn't know a lot of people from the Bay Area before I met you, actually. And people from the Bay Area rep the Bay Area like it's nobody's business.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much pride.
Mm-hmm.
Almost like more pride than like New Yorkers have for New York. It's interesting. It's interesting. I feel like I should give San Francisco another try.
Well,
I'll take it.
Oh, I guess the last time you tried it was for the tour. I was going to say high school, but...
Right.
No,
You know,
it was the tour.
I think I would like Northern California better than Southern California
Yes,
anyway.
I think you would too.
Yeah, there's like mountains and stuff.
Yeah, you like nature.
Yeah.
There's nature in LA, just like the beach.
The
and,
beach, yeah.
Smog. It's a natural phenomenon.
The beaches of Southern California are beautiful, I will admit. Tony Lynn has films including Ubi Raindrops, which is about 4 Pinay friends who grew up on the West Coast in the 90s and found their way to Brooklyn present day, where they enter a singing competition as a girl group in order to pay off a parking ticket. I had the privilege of being in this short film, and it was so much fun. There's a lot of great, inspiring women in this film. I think it's a great story. I think it's so nice to have a different kind of voice and seeing 4 female Filipina leads, you know, and it's just so lovely, and I can't wait to see it.
Neither can I. So for reference for all y'all who aren't in the room with us, that was filmed in grad school, which was about 3-4 years ago now.
Wow.
So still trying to raise funds for the edit. Because we need a lot of 90s songs. We need the copyright paid for.
Oh, that's expensive.
She's doing it in a legit way, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
It's great
You have
music
to.
in there.
I want more people to see it. So
Yeah.
I don't be pulled from, festivals and stuff.
We're going to call that out, manifest that, because
Thank you.
it needs to be seen, and not just because I'm in it. You know what I mean?
It's a
The-
reason.
Amazing. You're great, Miss Karen.
The music is amazing, and I love your choice of music and 90s R&B. Who are the groups that you have, or music that you have? What is the music that you have featured in that film?
So, Brownstone, Allure. I already got the rights for the Filipino group called Pinay.
Oh, yeah,
were
that was
popular
great.
in the 90s and in the Bay Area especially. So I already have their blessing. But those two, Allure and Brownstone, are the ones that I really... Oh, and Jade.
Oh, yes. All right, guys, be on the lookout for that.
Yes, looking forward to it.
Tony Lynn is also an advocate for the LGBTQ and POC community. Tony Lynn recently was in a staged reading of B.D. Wong's musical Mr. Holland's Opus. Woo! And a co-host of First Person PBS on YouTube, which received its Emmy New York nominations today, right? Which is why we have champagne. Thank you, Nicole,
Yes, we are
for
drinking
picking that
right
up.
now. Thank you both.
Congratulations.
You're all so sweet. And so if this, podcast goes awry, it's because we're drinking champagne.
I think it could only get better, honestly.
That's true. Tony Lynn is a co-host, as you know, of PBS on YouTube, but also works for Seafood Media. Tony Lynn is a very, very, very close friend of mine, which is why I think it's so fitting that you are here for today's episode, joining two worlds, one of my dearest, oldest friends with you. And two people that I actually really love collaborating with, and which I think is a very rare thing to find in a friend. Like friends who you can collaborate with and be artistic with and trust in that sense.
Trust and still hold each other accountable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that these two worlds are joining.
Hey.
But let's have our weekly check-in.
Yes.
Nicole, how was your Valentine's?
It was really nice, honestly. So the actual day, we didn't celebrate very much. I got some cheese, some fancy cheese, some rice cheese, and some red wine, and just did a little plate action. And he brought some chocolates. I felt very Mad Men, like
Yeah.
Charcuterie.
It felt very special. I was like, oh, you with the blue box of chocolates. It was really cute. Fancy truffles. And then on Saturday, we went to a movie at iPic in Fulton Market. And that was lovely. If you've never gone to iPic, they give you blankets and free popcorn, and it's a little cozy situation for a two-person.
It's a vestibule. Like,
Yeah.
you are in, like, a legit, like, little spaceship thing made for couples. iPic is made for couples.
Yeah.
I've never been. That sounds awesome.
It feels very private, very secluded. Apparently, celebrities go, according
Really?
to a friend of ours who used to work there.
Oh, that's right.
Yes. I'm not going to mention their names because, it's who knows if I really know the facts of what happened. But it was a very interesting story. I was hoping I would run into a celebrity. I'm like, oh, you're on a date too. Oh, celebrities are like us.
Yeah, I went there and I could not get a ticket for one. If I wanted the vestibule, I'm calling it a vestibule, but like
the private situation.
Yeah, I couldn't have that to myself. I had to. It was like a
Wow.
minimum of two. Well, for two.
Well, what if you wanted to take yourself out on a date? That's
Well,
weird.
then they have single seaters, but they don't get a blanket
But it's
and a
not
pillow.
vestibule.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
you could be masturbating.
Yeah.
That's what they're worried about. That's totally what they're worried about. There's no,
But they're
it's
okay with
fine if
couples
couples
having
have sex. It's totally fine
They
if
need
couples
to
have
see you
sex.
at all times. Waving through your hands, Miss Karen.
Well,
They don't trust the single person. They're like, no. They cannot have good reasons to
Yeah.
be here. That must be nefarious.
why would you want to go to a movie alone?
No!
Yeah.
Like, that's absolutely what they're
God
thinking.
forbid.
You don't have any friends? Like, nobody likes you? Enough to just be in a dark theater and not talk? No one likes you enough. That's just very limited interaction, and still no one wants to do that with you. Anyway.
You know what? We're not going to knock on iPic because it's a beautiful space. It's a sexy space. It's the sexy movie-going experience.
It is. It feels very sophisticated. It's not like popcorn on the floor always and, dusty bathrooms. Like,
Yeah.
it is clean.
It's for
Nice.
patrons of the arts.
Okay.
Rich patron?
You know. How was yours, Tawny Lynn?
The day of, I'm not really into the commercial aspect of Valentine's Day of what it has actually become, but so my boo had worked that night and I was working on an edit, and so the following day we got to go to Ube Kitchen, which is a Filipino vegan pop-up, had a Kamayan dinner, which is...
Wow, I didn't know it was vegan.
Yeah, so Kamayan is a Filipino custom where you eat with your hands, and all the food is spread out on banana leaves. So I used to work at a Filipino restaurant and could not eat the food because I'm mostly vegetarian and mostly vegan, sometimes mostly. I drink oat milk, so sometimes I'm okay with dairy. But so we did that, and then we went to Michael's because we were inspired to have wine and paint.
Oh, cute.
But I'm old. I'm a grandpa, and so I decided to go to bed, and then we painted like 2 days later.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah, I was tired. That food, like, just because it's vegan doesn't mean it's healthy. Like,
True.
it can be heavy.
Yeah.
But it was good. It was really fun, and we had our fill of red wine as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was an experience that I really, really enjoyed. And that night happened to be really warm outside that Friday after
That's
Valentine's Day.
right.
So we just walked the city and enjoyed our lovey-dovey selves.
That's sweet.
It's like it's your first Valentine's with your partner.
Yes, it
And
is.
it's your first Valentine's with your husband
Yeah.
as a
like
married
official
couple.
label.
That's important.
Well,
That's
did you
big.
use that vegetable or what?
No. We are not freaky. Like,
That's
we're not out here, like, in public space. Like, we're both very pragmatic people. Like, we
It's a
think
safe
about, like,
place
the
for
worst
females.
thing that could possibly happen.
Aw.
Like, somebody coming through and seeing
Yeah.
his naked butt. Like, us getting arrested. And then we have, like, sexual predator charges. Like,
oh
this is,
my
like,
god.
the discussions that David and I have, because like I'm extremely anxious, and then he's also anxious, but also like very well versed in like what could happen, like if you get caught. Like,
They're also
People like that.
lawyers too.
Oh,
so they're
yeah.
very pragmatic,
yeah.
Logical,
Yeah.
smart people.
And he grew up in a neighborhood where like it was over policed, and then there were friends of his that would get caught up for infractions that if they were in a different neighborhood it wouldn't have happened. So he's much more like aware of the danger, and I am more suburban and have had friends who have gone away with a lot. Yeah, so he comes with a different experience. So there's some things that I'm like oddly not as worried about, and he's just like, no, like we're gonna get He's very worried.
Plus, there's a movie we want to watch. Like we're here to watch a movie, so it's fine.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't it romantic? Is what we watched. It was good.
I really want to see it.
I enjoyed it. It was fun. It was a fun time.
Cute. Well, I had a lovely Valentine's.
Was it cute?
It was cute. I was actually really nervous because, again, this is just another holiday that I'm spending without a significant other. But, it was so much fun.
Good.
I went to Hooters for lunch.
I
Oh,
saw.
that's right. Yeah,
And you know
got
what?
Your wings.
I
You did a
love
whole
my
wing
wings.
Review.
I love my wings.
You
and
put it on the list of the top 3 wings, which like makes me very suspicious. I don't even eat chicken, but I was like, wait.
I love breaded wings, and that's not a popular opinion. A lot of people
Okay.
don't like breaded chicken wings,
I love bread.
right?
I like that crunch.
Yeah, and I just love it. And Hooters is it's just so much fun.
Like
But
Italian breadcrumbs or like Japanese panko breadcrumbs?
I mean both. Anything that's breaded, because I can get breaded wings at the bodega, and I don't even know what it
The one
did
in
to
Harlem,
be breaded.
right?
Yeah, yeah. But I loved it that you could like shred a picture of your ex or throw darts at a picture of your ex and get free wings.
Did you do it?
I did a digital online thing where you like upload a picture of your ex and you threw darts at it.
Okay, so you
It
did
was
it
so funny
in private. Not
I did
everyone
it in
else
private.
saw it.
I would
Okay.
never like post anything like that because
That's
I'm not
severe.
Yeah, because I'm not salty. Like, I just want free wings, So, like, no one saw that I, like, threw digital darts at at a picture of my ex. No, like, I didn't have to show them that. I just...
Well, now the whole world knows you did.
Yeah, well, you don't know which
yeah.
ex. You know what I mean? So...
They're all in danger. Who knows?
Yeah. And then I hosted an open mic at Mess Hall.
Nice.
Our producer, Jade Sabrick, performed and played for me, and everyone was taken with Jade, and everyone like was smitten with her, and it was actually a really lovely night of just like celebrating love all around, and I felt very good about it. It was actually one of the best Valentines I've ever had,
Aw,
and I was single as fuck,
that's sweet.
and I even reached out to like partner, like whatever, like people that I think of when I think about partners or love or whatever, and we laughed about the whole thing. It's fine. It's cute. Whatever. It's fine. Anyways, it was a great week. And it was my first, I celebrated my 10-year anniversary in New York City.
Woo!
And I went
Congrats.
to Top of the Rock. So it's a good week. But, yeah, let's move on.
Mm-hmm.
What is this episode about, Nicole? What's bringing us together today?
Friendship.
Mm-hmm.
Friendship. Valentine's Day. Platonic love. Yeah, it's about relationships where it's not about sex. And it's or romance. It's about just being there for each other and having that support. It could be a sibling friendship. It could be a friendship made out of like difficult, challenging obstacles that you had to face together. I know how that is. I like the friendships forged through law school were forged through fire. Like those are real. Yeah, that's the topic of our show today. So let's get into it. Tony Lynn as our guest. You got to start off the conversation. And I know this is going to be challenging for you. You already told me I can't think of one, but you can think of many. That's fine. So, what are the favorite film, TV depictions of friendship that you would like us to discuss?
Oh, God. Well, I'm kind of biased.
Okay.
Well, first, Nicole might have a hard time with this because she has no reference and did not see any of the footage. But I have to, Upe Raindrops. I was going to say, that's how I met Karen.
Oh,
so
that's very true.
I wanted to bring this up, and sorry I didn't ask for permission, Miss Karen, but so I think we have a funny love story. So I met Karen through a friend, and at the time I was casting for the film that I made in grad school, and I was like, I need a Filipina singer, and she needs to be amazing, and it would be great if she had acting chops, and my friend was like, yo, we're going to meet up with this person, and met her, and literally right away I knew that I wanted to cast Karen. And I don't know if she thought I was serious about my film or that I was legit, I actually was going to make it. And so we had met, and right off the bat I remember going down YouTube, down the rabbit hole, and listening to your Beyonce
God.
1+1, right? And she was at the piano, and I just remember thinking, how awesome would it be if the world got to see Karen in this particular role? So Karen actually played a character that was based on my experience in the early 20s when I was living in LA and tried to make it as a singer. I was very femme back then and long hair, and I auditioned for Pop Stars. It was one of the very first TV singing competition shows.
I think I remember that.
Yeah, they created Eden's Crush.
Yes! Oh my gosh! Yes, I do remember this. That's so funny.
I had actually met Nicole Scherzinger that
Right.
in my audition
She was
group.
in that show. I remember that.
It was horrible times for me, not for her. But yeah, so, Karen played a character named Desiree, who tries to make it as a singer, back in the day, and we don't know why she gave it up. And so Karen was able to play that. But during the time when I was first getting to know Karen, truth be told, I had a major crush on her.
Oh, who hasn't?
I was just I want to work with her. I want to see her. And we became really good friends. And I think that's something that we had to work through because, being queer identified, I have a lot of love for my girlfriends, and they're not always romantic. A lot of it's platonic. Sometimes I've had friends who are like, why aren't you attracted to me? And I'm like, oh girl, cut it out. But I think with Miss Karen, we were able to work through it, and we became really good friends, and we started collaborating on more projects. So I think I would have to say because, we lived that, and then we were also filming friendship. We just created a really awesome one. However, I was gonna talk about Charmed, the original. Original Charmed. So I have a thing for sibling friendships because those to me are honest friendships. You can shoot the shit. You can also be really honest with them, and it's that love-hate.
Yeah, you can call each other out.
Yeah, and tell it like it is. And so for some reason that sibling relationship, friendship on screen really spoke to me. And so that's a show that I always revisit on Netflix. Always.
It's interesting that you talk about sibling friendships. I this week had a situation with my sister, and it had to do with money. And I was honest. I was like, look, I'm just really salty right now because this, and this. I came through for you on this. You can't come through for me on this. And then she was like, well, my reality is this, that, and the third. I know I'm not being specific.
You're not at all. I don't know anything.
It was about money.
I also understand that conversation.
Yeah, we argued about money. And then I took a step back, and I'm like, okay, you know what? I don't want to argue about money with my sister. I don't want money to come between us right now. So you know what? I love you. I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at the system.
It makes money necessary.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it definitely So And then we're honest with each other. Like, this is where we're at in our lives with money. And you know what? We're not going to let it get in the way of our friendship. We're honest with each other. We're a little stressed out about it. But, we're going to move on because at the end of the day, we love each other. And it was nice. Yeah. You can't do that with friends. Like, money really gets in the way of friendships.
Mm-hmm, it can.
It's so,
it can.
It's such an ugly thing.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have sisters, and I don't, like, my brother, we're working on a relationship. I'd like to think that we're both working on a relationship and trying to make it more friendly. But he wasn't someone that I saw as, like, my friend, So it took me a while to develop friendships where there isn't that fear of, like, if we have this conversation, this might be the end of this friendship. I still think I operate with a sense of that fear of, like, oh, we shouldn't broach that subject because it's going to get awkward. But I'd say, like, there are friends that I feel comfortable having those, like, conversations about money or, like, kind of calling them out. Like, those are the people that I would say, like, are my sisters, like, not of blood, but of, fire or whatever, the way that we created our relationship. There is that, like, feeling of security. I don't have to worry too much about being real.
Well, you talk so highly of the friends that you made in law school, and I want to know why, like, what it was that brought you all together, or what you think, like, made such strong relationships with each other. Like, what was the secret to that?
I think it was a shit time. Like, law school is hard for everyone. It's really stressful. They're trying to prepare you for what the job is like, and that's a mistake, because there's always this thinking of, like, oh, once I'm done with this level, I'm going to move on and it's going to be better at the next level. No, like, this is just to show you what it's going to be like when you actually enter the profession. So it was a hard time, a lot of reading, a lot of stress, feeling like you're inadequate, realizing you're not as smart as you thought you were. You're in a room of people who are, like, equally as ambitious and have had stellar academic records. Like, you just are faced with your own, like, inadequacy, really. I think our friendships are actually kind of rare. The class above us and the class below us a lot would remark, like, wow, like, you guys are so close. Like, it's crazy, like, how close you are. And it just kind of happened really naturally. I think it was because it was kind of a diverse group. We were all from cities mostly. There wasn't any, like, people who were from a small town. So we kind of, like, had that feeling of, we know what diversity feels like and feeling comfortable in your identity. And now we're in a place where we don't feel that comfort. And we were able to rely on each other because we realized, like, this is, like, the people that can make us feel a little bit safer in an unfamiliar situation. So yeah, it was really beautiful looking back, and, like, the fact that we're still friends through all of that. We still have, like, a group chat. There's still people that, like, they came to my wedding. I go to their weddings, Yeah, it's really nice. I love those friendships where, like, it was a specific experience, shared experience. That
of course, yeah. Going through trauma together will definitely bring people together. Yeah.
Trauma, that is great.
Well,
that's the same thing that happened in school. Like, you're in the trenches together, and, like, when you come out of that together, it's just the bond you can't really fuck with anymore,
For sure.
Yeah.
Even if you don't see each other, it's always like you have that affinity and that love towards them, I love that.
Yeah.
Nicole, do you have a favorite film or television friendship?
I mean, I have so many. We can jump into so many options. Let's talk about Russian Doll.
Ooh, Tony Lynn, did you get to see Russian Doll?
I did. I saw the first, like, 3 or 4.
Okay.
Did you meet Alan when you were watching?
Which one's Alan?
You probably did not get into Alan.
Horrible memory.
I don't think Alan comes in until, like, halfway through.
Like, yeah.
So Alan's not the ex.
No. Alan is the friend. Like, the friend that she meets to face this, like, challenge with.
No, I haven't.
Oh my God!
Have you seen the elevator when they go down the elevator's crashing down?
No.
Oh my God, Tony! Okay, yeah. So you won't understand anything, but
it's something to look forward to.
Yes, please look forward to it because it's so good. What did you think?
Okay, so quick summary about Russian Doll. It's streaming on Netflix currently. What's the name of the main actor?
Natasha Lyonne.
Natasha Lyonne from Orange is the New Black. It feels kind of like a modern Groundhog Day situation.
Yes.
She keeps getting killed in multiple ways, and like the first few episodes, it's like, what's going on? It's just, and she's chasing a few different theories. It's like, maybe it's this laced joint that I smoked, or
Special K.
right. I love the scene where she's like, it's because of this crazy ketamine that you gave me, and you're like, you did ketamine at the baby shower last year or something, and you were fine. I loved it. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So it keeps this iteration of like different deaths, and you're trying to figure out like what is causing this. But I feel like I'm not fully hooked into the show until this other character comes in, Alan, and she recognizes that he's also in the same predicament where he keeps dying and reliving the same day. Yes.
Yeah. For me, it's what brings in like the heart of the show. Because I wasn't invested until Alan came in, because I'm like, okay, so she keeps dying, like, okay. It's like literally that for 4 episodes, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm like,
that's where I'm at.
is there anything else? Like,
Right.
is there anything
What
else?
are we learning about this
Yeah,
character?
exactly.
Where is this going? Now she's just getting
Exactly.
annoying.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
But when Alan comes into play, it really like gives you heart, and it really makes you more invested
Mm-hmm.
into this story.
Well, is that because they're in the trenches together now?
I think it's
Dang,
partially
dang,
because
dang.
they have that shared experience. It's like, oh, this is the only other person who understands what I'm going through. Because the first few episodes, she keeps trying to explain it to people, and no one's understanding, and she's having a hard time like navigating the world with this knowledge. And finally, she finds someone who's like, okay, like this is someone I can cling to, and we can figure this out together. And it's really interesting seeing that journey. And he also brings a lot of vulnerability to the what I would like to call a long film, because it's not really a TV show. It's like a really long film cut into pieces. Because she is kind of like just a very strong, like guarded character. You can tell like she's been through a lot of trauma, and that's the way that she is able to protect herself. While there's this other character that you can tell that there's a lot under the surface, but it's a kind of bubbling up. You can see his pain, his stress, his trauma, and the way he is able to navigate it is like trying to like make things as predictable as possible. So he's actually enjoying the fact that it's a recurring situation. He's like, okay, I can figure this out now. I know what the world is bringing me, and now I can figure out how to, you know, make life work for me. And then he finds out information about his life that he didn't realize it, and then it brings him into it's really
So like they
interesting.
make different decisions every time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like, God, if we all had that feedback.
Yeah.
Right? Right. You know what I also love about this friendship? Not to spoil anything for you,
It's
Tony
okay.
Lynn,
It's okay.
but Alan is, he keeps reliving a day where his girlfriend that he is going to propose to breaks up with him. And so that's like really
That was a sad
heartbreaking
face
to
that you couldn't see.
Yeah.
It was a lip pout.
Yeah, it's very cute. It's very heartbreaking to see. And what I love seeing is when he relives the day with his new friend, played by Natasha Lyonne, she's really an advocate for him. And she like puts herself in the situation and like tells his girlfriend, like, you're so lucky to have a man like this. Like, fuck you, you're dumb. Like, you don't even know what you have. And it's like, how wonderful is that to have like an advocate for you? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I just think it was so refreshing to see, and it was so nice.
Yeah,
Because
it's
they just met too.
yeah, it was a really sweet story. I think like the theme of the show / movie was, you know, if you see someone in need, go help them. And like that, like you don't need to be only supporting people that you already have a relationship with.
Yeah.
And there are people who feel very alone in life. And if you feel like you can assist in any way, like go do that.
And that we cross paths for a reason.
Mhm.
Right,
Yeah.
right. It's really a matter of life and death in this show. Like with this friendship.
Mhm.
Like the stakes are really high. And I think that's also rare. I feel like in reality, like friendships, like the stakes are never that high. If it's like a matter of life and death, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, are you really thinking of your friends when you're thinking of the end of the world or like the apocalypse? I'm going like
I don't know,
dark
Karen,
right
are
now.
you thinking of your friends
Well,
when you think about the end
Yeah,
of the
this is
world?
good for me to know.
Yeah.
No, I'm
Like,
asking.
am I gonna get a call? Like,
You
oh,
wanna count on.
I'm really asking, when it's like the stakes are really high, are our friendships a priority? That's like a genuine question for people. You know what I mean? Like, or is it family first? You know what I mean?
mm-hmm. I mean, for me, my friends are part of my family.
Aw,
Like, I don't see
beautiful.
that a big separation. Like, there's some family that I don't fuck with like that.
True, it's chosen family.
I just
Yeah.
realized that I don't have like your emergency contact information. That for me is kind of like when you know they're the homie. You know what I mean? Like if I know how to reach your sister or in case something should happen, like maybe I should. What's your sister's name again? See,
Mavis.
Mavis. That's right. See, I knew that. I just forget. But
Beautiful
you know,
Mavis.
like we should have that information.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. And I think that's like a theme in all of these movies and TV shows. Like the stakes are high for these friends. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
You know where the stakes were also high? For Toy Story. Poor Woody. Yo. What I love about this film, honestly, okay, so I am a big fan of Disney movies, guys. I grew up in Florida. Sometimes the TV would babysit me because I had busy parents, and you know what? It did a good job. Like I was sitting right in front of that television, no movement, because Disney was so interesting, dramatic, beautiful. I loved it. So, Toy Story. After seeing so many princess romantic love stories, this is actually like so refreshing and actually brings like a relationship that children are more likely to see growing up. I think it's very common for kids to feel jealousy when their first best friend ends up, hanging out with some other friend. I think that's like usually their first foray into that feeling of like, oh, I'm not the only person that you hang out with. I'm not your only friend. Yeah, Woody was feeling that real. He's like, I was your friend, Andy. You put my name on your shoe. It was like a tattoo. And then you're gonna go fuck with this space cowboy. You upgraded. You're like, I'm gonna go to the future. Like, fuck the 1960s. I don't need to be John Wayne. Like, let me go to the future. Yeah.
Well, because, Buzz was cooler than Woody. Woody was operated by a string,
You needed batteries for Buzz.
Buzz is like the future, like trendy.
That's how you knew you had a good
Cool.
toy in the 90s. When you needed batteries.
Battery
AA.
operated.
Yes. Hopefully you didn't know have to go to Battery Plus or whatever that store was for some
You know
special
what?
batteries.
That was real, though. That is real. Like, yeah, the jealousy. Like, my friend, found someone who's cooler than me, who's more trendy, more popular than me.
Mm-hmm.
How can I live up to this?
Oh, man.
You know what I mean? After I gave my all to him. He really gave his all to Andy,
He gave what he could.
You're right. You're right.
He gave what he could. And
But
Andy was growing.
Andy was growing.
Andy was growing. And so, like, that's kind of a conversation that needed to happen. Like,
a conversation that needed to happen.
I fulfilled a need when you were this age and when you had these particular, desires. And then now you're getting older and your needs have changed.
Oh my
It seems like
Yeah, but he couldn't have that conversation with Andy. He had to have that conversation, like, with who? With Buzz? Like, his competition? With himself? You know what I mean?
like if this was a sexual relationship, it would have been like Andy was polyamorous with all the toys, right? But he got a favorite toy, right? Was Woody. And then brought in a new one. It's like, this is my new favorite. This is my new special boo. And it's like, oh, now we got a problem.
Yeah.
And it gets dark. Like, Toy Story gets fucking
Deep.
dark.
But the worst part is he couldn't talk to Andy about it because he's a fucking toy.
Right.
He couldn't tell Andy, like,
Yeah.
look, I've got feelings.
No,
Like,
he
you know
couldn't.
what I'm saying? Like, because you're going to get scared if I talk to you.
No, it would have been a problem.
Then we're over.
Yeah,
for sure.
like,
Yes.
I'm in the trash if I start talking to you, if I start telling you how I feel.
Then it's Chucky.
So much. I can't.
You know what? But that's deep. That is
That
so
is deep.
deep.
That's real. And I think it's good for children to see it because they could see how jealousy can be ugly. Like, they took them all the way. Like, it wasn't just like, oh, I have these feelings of jealousy, I'm going to put them down and I'm going to try to be friends with Buzz. Like, no, I'm going to follow this feeling to the end
Yeah.
and make sure he gets dropped off at the pizza place, gets run over by a car maybe, or ends up...
And you know what? He didn't plan this, but he got what he wanted. He's like, look, Andy, this is what life looks without me.
Mhm.
Now what? You know what I mean?
Right.
He didn't plan
Is
that.
that what
No.
you want?
But that's what he needed. That's what Andy needed.
Right.
You know what I
He's
mean?
like,
You
oh, I
gotta
miss
teach
you.
them. You gotta teach them.
Oh, that's a good thing to learn. I mean, like, you know, it might not work out for you. Sometimes he might not remember you. It's like, Woody who? And that happens to kids all the time. They forget about their toys. But,
Except
like,
I got some other one who sees the value in me.
yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm worth loads
Right.
in this guy's eyes, and he wants me.
Toy
So
Story
deep.
2. Toy Story 2.
The champagne is kicked in.
You know, I'm really curious as to what the next Toy Story is about.
Oh, I am too.
It's a part 4
But
coming out.
I felt very emotional at the trailer because they did the
Yeah.
song from what's her name?
No, I don't even remember.
Light from both
Joni
sides.
Wow. Yes,
Yes.
one of
Toy
the
Story
best
is the
songs.
one with the characters, the peas in the pod, right?
They have,
Neither are
yeah,
you.
in the
Okay,
third one. In
so
the third
my
one.
niece had read for a part in that movie.
Oh my
Yeah, so I
god!
had to work on a scene with her. It was so sweet.
Oh my gosh!
She
How
never
cute!
submitted, but yeah,
That is
That's
so
really
cute.
sweet.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Aw.
coming out
Shout
this
out to
summer.
Malia, I love you.
Charlie comes
Aww.
from a beautiful family, by the way. It's
I
like
love that.
beautiful child actors, models.
Looking for stardom,
Yeah.
yes. I wanted to be born into a family like that. I just kept like showing my mom beauty pageant like pamphlets. I wanted to be a star. I was like, here,
Barbizon.
Mom. Yes, no. When what's her name? The girl got kidnapped. I thought it was me. I was
Oh
like,
my
oh, it could
God.
have been me.
Nicole!
Yes.
What?
I was like, it could
No,
have
when
been
they
me.
Ramsey.
Yes, I swear.
Company Ramsey, thank God you're not. Oh
I was
my
like, that
God.
could have been me.
What the
No, I swear.
Excuse me. Oh my God.
But like my mother, her reaction was so hilarious. Every time I'd be like, Mom, I want to do this. I want to be a pageant girl. She'd be like, ha ha ha. I'm not, you're hilarious. I'm never going to put you through this. I'm going to be laughed at by my friends.
Oh my God.
She's
You know,
like-
your mom is a very smart woman.
Yes.
Yeah, no, she's pretty gripped
Yeah.
to reality. She
That's-
said once that she submitted my picture to one of those like baby magazines, and then they didn't print it, and then she was like, "Oh, maybe not everyone thinks my baby is this pretty inside."
Oh.
Wait, she told you this?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Now I
You
want
know
to see a
what?
baby picture.
She's
No,
a
I was a
very
fucking
beautiful
cute.
baby.
I was a cute
I
ass
believe
baby.
that, I believe that.
Very beautiful baby. Damn.
Yeah,
I
my
know.
nephew makes more money on set than I do.
You see, I mean,
Yeah.
your nephew's very cute.
Yeah,
Very
he's-
beautiful.
He's on
Big
up on
hair,
Old Navy
beautiful
right
eyes.
now.
Aww.
Yeah, you could check him out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would
All
love
over.
to.
He's a cutie. He's a cutie. He's a very sweet boy.
Shout out to Miles.
Hi,
Oh, I love that name. That's on our list.
Oh,
Oh,
That's
that's
really-
cute.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a good name.
definitely an actor.
You know what I love about Toy Story is that last scene
Oh,
in
no.
part 3, not the last scene, but that scene in part 3 when they all think they're gonna die and they're all like grabbing each other's hands,
That's
like
dark.
this is it. You know,
That's
it's
a great
deep.
scene.
Again, it's like people, or it's like, you know, friendships that are facing something traumatic, like I got you. Like, we're going to go through this together. We're going to
Yes.
die together.
Shared experience.
Yeah.
We're gonna burn together.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that is a great movie about friendship.
Agreed.
Friendship all around. You know what I mean?
So many friendships, and like, you know, don't be possessive. Like, your friends can have friends.
Mhm.
A little lesson to the children out there.
But also, like, you know, appreciate what you have because it could be gone any second.
Yeah, that
Andy.
too. You know, appreciate your old friends. I'm not gonna say no new friends because you can have new friends too, but don't forget your old friends.
Yeah, Andy. All right.
Ooh.
Oh.
So next one.
Andy no toys.
Oh, so our good friend Zovante recommended Set It Off.
Hey.
Set it off to the left. Oh, set it off to the right. Oh, set it off. No. Oh, set it
Go
off.
ahead.
That
Get out.
song was stuck in my head for days after the show. They played through the whole credits, and it's just a lot of set it off to the left. Yeah, it was.
Set It Off was what, 96?
Yes,
Yes, it
96,
was.
you're right.
Yeah.
Gary Gray.
F. Gary Gray directed, screenwriting by Takashi Buford of House Party 3 and Kate Lanier of What's Love Got to Do with It. I've never seen What's Love Got to Do with It. Don't you know?
So good.
Big memories.
So, Tony Lynn, I know, like, we already talked about Ubi Raindrops, and obviously Ubi Raindrops is not, like, on the same, it's not the same story at
You
all.
mean we're not robbing banks?
It's right. It's not a matter of life and death.
That
But
would be kind of awesome to see, though.
I did see a lot of similar, like, a lot of, like, the same kind, it's, like, very similar tones in the film. Like, just between, like, 4 female friends in the 90s on the West Coast. You know what I mean? Like, it was, like, the same kind of, like, vibes,
Yeah.
I want to say.
Yeah, like I would argue that like another character in Ubi Raindrops is the actual Bay Area, like the memory of the Bay Area and being in high school during that time. Because like a lot of the the flashback scenes, even though we only shot in a bathroom, it's supposed to be a high school bathroom, like we can see how people dressed, how they did their makeup, how they did their hair. Miss Karen, you look so great. Flashback to the 90s, that was awesome. But yeah, I would have to agree the fact that like, when I was writing Ube Raindrops, I was really thinking about personalities. Mm-hmm. Like we all have that friend who is diehard, like can just back you up whenever you need. Then we have the friend who's hella skeptical. Mm-hmm. In our script, she was a lawyer, which is funny. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the person who's gonna be like, wait, what are we doing? Like, hold on, let's be logical about this. And then, you have different types of friends. And I think that's what I loved about Set It Off, is that the characters all had very specific personalities. And that's why their friendship worked. And that's why they were able to rob banks together and get away with it.
I mean, the stakes were high.
I don't want to blow the ending, but everyone needs to watch this film, first of all, because I was surprised at like how much this film affected me. Like, it's really well done. These characters are captivating. I feel like they do such a good job of portraying like the experience of being impoverished, especially like being impoverished as a Black person. Like, 1 step forward, 3 steps back. Like, you're always feeling like, just one issue, one situation is going to put me homeless, or is going to ensure that like I can't ever like work again. Like, it just always seems like you're in a precarious situation.
Yeah, and you're rooting for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think, like, that's good writing. Like, if you're able to, root for the person who's actually doing illegal or bad things,
right?
But you're rooting for them, and because you can see their humanity, like, that's really good writing.
Yeah.
And I think, I remember this was the first time I saw, maybe the first time, Queen Latifah, and then Jada Pinkett Smith. I may have seen her in something else, but Queen Latifah's character specifically, I just remember thinking like, I wasn't out back then. I was so young, but like, I just remember thinking like, these representations of Black women, for some reason, I'm like really identifying with these characters. And I, I would love to watch it again now that I'm in my 30s.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like how would I have received it, how would I receive it now? So I love hearing how you felt about it because, to see one, I use this term, for lack of a better one, I'll think of more later, but like strong Black women, strong Black women who are making choices and not backing down, and they're going to be badass bitches about it. I love seeing that.
Yeah.
I think specifically women of color get portrayed, in situations where they're either over-sexualized, over-objectified, and then also like deep in the struggle, but without choice.
Yeah.
And I think that this movie just like kind of blew all of that out of the water for me. I remember being young and just thinking like, what the hell? Like, this is so dope,
I wish I saw it when I was young. I think the relationship between Cleo and her girlfriend would have been like a huge like eye opener for me because I like seeing it now. I was like, oh wow, this is such a lovely little depiction. Like it's definitely not central to the film, but there is this like sensuality that's like not portrayed in a lot of like other films of this period where you see like, oh, there's this like romance, this lust that like you see between them, which is really cool. And like her girlfriend is hot and is like still hot. Like,
super iconic scene though.
Yeah.
Like when they're at the the mechanic scene, like
the garage and dancing is hot.
It's
like
definitely iconic.
Yeah.
Super hot.
That totally represents the 90s to me, that movie.
Yeah.
And there's like different layers. I think different levels of strength or different ways of exhibiting strength because I can't remember the name of the character, but she's the one with the child, and she was also in A Diary of a Mad Black Woman.
She's a great actress.
Yeah, she's so talented and was really. I think like if I were an actor, I would feel more comfortable playing that role of like I'm gonna be like super aggressive, like whatever life takes at me, I'm gonna be able to hit it back. But she like showed a lot of sensitivity and like fear and I liked how they used like her being a mother as like I'm in an even more vulnerable situation. Like I can't play the games that y'all are playing because like it might affect my child.
Exactly.
And sometimes she would be viewed at poorly by the other like characters who are exhibited as like the strong like examples, like Vivica A. Fox. Like she would I react really harshly to her when she was acting like suspicious or confused or asking more questions. Like just get on board, like right, just like get on board, like just be about this. And she's asking like legitimate questions. She's also kind of meek in the way that she says things, but like she's surprising. Like I love that all of these characters are so layered and they're not just a type.
Exactly.
Like they all like exhibit vulnerability in certain points. They all show strength in certain points. Like they're not just like I'm the strong one, I'm the artsy one, or whatever. Like no, they're like very layered people and they all have a background that I can get behind.
Agreed.
Yeah. Delvante recommended this movie, and I see Delvante like every 5 minutes of this movie. Like just with things like raggedy ass or I need some sustenance. Like that is all Delvante. And I appreciate this. I saw this movie like a long time ago. I grew up with cousins who came from the Philippines as teenagers and they lived with me for a while. And it was the early 90s or mid 90s, whatever. And they would have like house parties at our house all the time, and they would play booty music, like Quad City DJs, Ghost City DJs. And so, like, I was, like, introduced to that, like, that kind of, like, culture of, like, R&B in the 90s, and this movie was part of that canon.
Yes. Yes, for sure.
So I remember seeing it then, but seeing it now, like, as an adult, after Delvante recommended it, I was just so, like, blown away. The acting is incredible. The writing is incredible. And I love that certain themes are brought up without, like, taking away the quality of the acting or the writing. There's a lot of films that I feel like probably try to bring up these certain themes and fail at doing it in a way that's not shallow. And
they weren't preachy about it.
Right, exactly.
And the details about their life.
Yeah. And the acting is just so good. Like, it's so good.
But in the 90s, like, that's, like, specifically, like, Black written and Black directed films,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I hate to, you know, segment them off, but like that, they were so strong, I would say,
Yeah.
in the 90s.
Oh, yeah,
And
I
I
think-
think they like created this
Yeah.
culture
Right.
of like, you know, these are Black love films, or, you know, like, what was it? The Best Man,
Mhm.
Waiting to Exhale, like
Mhm.
that whole
Waiting to
canon.
Exhale.
I know, right? That whole canon of films to me was like, first of all, I'm seeing, you know, Black and POC folks on screen
Mm-hmm.
that and in abundance.
Mhm.
That first off the bat, that's like, yo, this is dope. Okay, I'm on with it. Then you get 90s R&B in there. You get like the whole culture of, for me particularly, the West Coast. Like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
you know, I grew up in the Bay, but I also, you know, went to school in LA, and so being familiar with the locations that they used on set, like,
Mhm.
you know, knowing what was happening in the neighborhoods and where you could go for like the best tacos, like which taco truck to go to, like in these films, like you were seeing that. It's not, for me, it was like for the first time, like actually being like, oh, I just took, you know, the 26 down Pico Boulevard and I just saw that corner. So for me, feeling like maybe this is a stretch, but thinking like, oh, well, I could be a strong ass POC at the time, identifying as female, you know, I identify as genderqueer now, but like I can be a badass bitch and I have these people to look up to. At the same time, these people are robbing banks. And I
Mhm.
knew not to rob banks, but I'm
Right.
like, but I still see them as like, you know, really strong-willed characters,
Mhm.
you know?
It was still so inspiring, though.
Yeah.
Like,
It was.
when they
Yeah.
got away with robbing these banks, like, it was so exhilarating to watch,
Yeah.
honestly.
The first time, especially,
Yeah.
because like they
Yeah.
were ready to run out. I really identified with. I keep forgetting the name of this character, but the character from Diary of a Bad Black Woman. I think her name is like Deshawn.
Yes.
She runs out of the bank. She's like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
Just like throws her wig or whatever.
That's real!
And I'm like,
Yeah.
yes, like first of all, I would never have like signed up for it. Like, I'm not the friend that you call when you're like, I need you to like go commit crime with me. I'm like,
Take
no.
no care.
Noted.
Don't call me. But yeah, like if you got me that far, if I was in that dire circumstances, I would have been the one in the bank who would be like, I'm not doing this.
I love
I'm
it.
running
No
away.
one can see what you're doing right now, but your arms are flailing, and it's really funny. I love it. When I watched that, I was like, who would that be? I literally thought that. I swear to you, I'm like, who would that be?
Did you think of me? Were
I'm
you
not
like, it
gonna
would
say.
be Nicole?
I don't know. You know what? I don't know. I really don't know.
I'm
I
the one
thought
that's gonna bring us down.
I felt like I would be more like Vivica A. Fox, like.
We're gonna do
Yeah,
this shit.
like-
Like, cause you do pull the punches, like, when shit is dire. When you're like, oh, nobody's gonna pull this off. Like, I'm gonna pull this off. I'm just gonna make it, I'm not gonna, like, let you make a decision about this right now.
Yeah.
Which I love. Vivica A. Fox was like, okay, we're just doing this right now. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna start, like,
Oh, okay.
like,
Yeah,
we're
right.
going.
Yeah, but you know what? That character, Deshawn's reaction was very realistic,
Yes.
and I appreciated that. That's something that really happens. But what I loved about that was that afterwards, after like they succeeded in getting the money, they were like, you know what, Deshawn, like you're a sister, like you're gonna get a cut of this.
They fought a little bit before
They sure
that.
Yeah,
And
Sure did.
I
but
was
it's
like,
real. You know, that's friendship.
She needed the money. She
Yeah,
really did need the
exactly.
money, and they were like, you know what? Even though it didn't work, and she pulled her weight later.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think it would have been a bad decision, like just pragmatically, because you never know.
Yeah.
Like she might be like, oh well, I heard that somebody robbed a bank, and she looks like this.
Right. Yeah. I was gonna say, what was I gonna say? Fuck. I forgot.
We're gonna wait for Karen to think about it.
No, okay.
Yeah.
So this movie like made me realize like friendships are formed on the environment and the situation that you're in. Like sometimes friendships just happen because you're both in the same situation.
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean? Like everyone in this quartet of a friendship like had the same upbringing. You know what I mean? They were
Mhm.
all in need of money. They all wanted to like fuck the system over because they felt like they were fucked by the system.
Mm-hmm.
And so I also feel like boundaries are created in that sense too, because I'm like, these women don't have any boundaries with each other. Like, I have so many boundaries with my friends. Like, wow, they're like literally like ride or die for each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's all. It's very refreshing to see like ride or die, because again, like in real life, I mean, you know, in my reality, it's like friendships are all about boundaries. You know what I mean? Healthy boundaries.
I also didn't learn about healthy boundaries until later, though.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, my friendships that were formed, you know, I have a crew of girlfriends that we grew up together, and we've known each other, some since the 3rd grade, most of us since the 7th grade.
Mm-hmm.
And we're all, like, still homies.
Yeah.
Although I could be better at staying in touch. But, you know, we had lost a friend in a car accident when we were 21. And Andy had died Christmas Day, 2001. But that was like ride or die homies since the 7th grade. And I think there's something about when you grow up in the same neighborhood, you grow up, you know, around the same kind of like cultural influences. There's something that binds you together. But also, like, we were so different. And I think each one of us, there was 8 of us, each one of us had such a different personality. But when we all came together, like, we were also one and the same. It was so interesting. And I, you know, and we do have those friends that you can count on that, like, yo, if I want to rob a bank, I know to call on Kristen in Florida. I know to call her because she's like logical, and she'd just be like, let's do it. Like, let's just get it done.
Did you say her full name right now?
I sure did.
So the police can be like, okay.
She's, you know, logical. She's the planner. She's the one who's like, you know, she's always doing cute things for people's, like, you know, birthdays and bridal showers. And then, you know, and then you have, I'm the flighty one, maybe, you know, I'm the one that's like, I can show up the day of, but like, get me in planning.
Don't count on me.
Yeah, like, I'll be there for the fun, but, you know, the planning part, you might back off. But, you know, I really think about, boundaries. I don't know. I don't remember really having conversations with my friends when I was younger about boundaries. I can't remember if I've ever, like, told friends, like, you hurt my feelings. Like did I? I don't know. So shout out to my friends. Let me know if I did you wrong back in the day. But, like, I can't remember, like, how I really built those friendships. Like, and really, what is a friendship?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, there's so many different kinds.
Yeah. It's definitely a learning process, you know, for everyone as we get older in life. Like, you know, what it means to be a friend.
I feel like it's definitely been a learning curve. For me, when I first met friends, like, in middle school, and I was, like, really, like, wanting to have friends, I was like, oh, how I make friends is, like, I give them presents so they know that, like, I like them or whatever. Like, I was, like, really bad at figuring out, like, the whole friendship thing. And it's funny, like, the boundaries conversation, because I think in Miami, the way that we navigate friendships is not, like, emotionally intelligent sometimes. Like, it's a lot of just, like, hurting each other's feelings and, like, talking shit to yourself and being like, but she's cool though. Like,
I like that in the bay too.
Like, it's not about having conversations. It wasn't, like, until... I mean, I remember in high school we had a few conversations where I might have said something that was kind of flippant or insensitive, and then a friend called me out, and I was very uncomfortable. I was like, I do not
what
like.
Did you just say?
Right? Like, it's like, please don't confront me, because I didn't grow up in a house where, like, we were apologizing to each other.
Please don't confront me.
No, I felt attacked for sure. Like, I'm talking about Nicole right now, because there was a solo that we both had to, like, audition for. And
a solo, because we were in chorus.
Yeah, so it was chorus. And
oh my god!
We did. Remember, we're doing, like, a show choir thing. We were trying to do the show choir thing because we saw show choirs at competition and we wanted to be like that. We were like, we're gonna do our own show choir, right? So we were auditioning for this jazz part, right? And
God,
I sang it, and then we did, like, a blind vote, and they picked this girl. I don't know who got picked, but I remember that Nicole and I both went for it, and then neither of us got it. And I remember being upset, right? And then
So upset.
I was upset. And I was just like, man, like, you know, I should have gotten her, or like, whatever, blah, blah. And Nicole was like, well, I didn't get it either. And what I should have said is like, nobody asked you. That's what I should have said. But I was like, I said something bitchy, even bitchier than that. I was like, oh, well, you didn't sound good, or something like that. Like, yes.
Stakes are high
Yo,
right now.
like, no, because
Yeah.
when I'm already
about you.
when I'm already feeling vulnerable, and then when people don't pay attention to like what I'm actually talking about, like I attack, like I get aggressive, and I'm like, whoa, like I surprised myself. I was like, I didn't know I could say things that mean.
Good to know.
Yeah. So, she was understandably upset, and she tried to like talk to me about it, or like wanted like tried to give hints of like, oh, I should talk to her about it. And I was like, I don't want to fucking talk about this. I'm like, I guess we're not gonna be friends anymore, because I can't, like, confronting about this is not gonna work for me. Like, I can't do that. It's uncomfortable. But then later I remember talking to my voice teacher about it, and she's like, I mean, how are you going to deal with it? Like, deal with it like an adult. And I was like, all right, like, I need to just grow up. So I feel like learning, like, that situation, like, prepared me to be a better friend to people in the future, because I learned, like, okay, that's you feeling vulnerable and recognizing that you're not always going to be perfect, and you don't necessarily, like, always navigate social interactions perfectly, Nicole. That's okay. Just be able to remedy it after.
Also, good friendships can mean that you can be completely honest, no matter how hard it might hurt someone else's feelings. Like, if we can be, like, honest in our connections with friends and family, let's just put it all out there. But, like, the more we can be honest with each other, I feel like that's really what friendship is about. Like, friendship to me isn't about, like, I'm always going to gas you up, even though you're in the wrong, or even though you're not, you know, you just want a pat on the back or a gold star for doing something you're supposed to be doing. Like, like, I don't think that's what friendship is about. I think friendship should be supportive, but also, like, completely honest. And sometimes that honesty is, like, what we need to hear, you know? And I think the good friends, the friends that are going to be there for you, ride or die, are the ones that, like, aren't afraid to go there with you, because they know that, like, ultimately you're gonna respond well to them. Hopefully, you know.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. We're in a group. Nicole and I are in a group message with 3 other friends from high school, and we got to talking today about planning, like, you know, a little get together in Miami / going to Orlando, because we're Florida kids. You know, check out the new ride at a theme park,
right?
And you know, I was getting really excited. My friend who just had a baby, Lori, was like, you know, is it okay if I, like, do you think I'm a good mother if I don't bring my baby on this trip? And I'm like, no, it means you're a good friend, because you're not going to ruin my vacation. Like, you know what I mean? But then, speaking of honesty, my other friend, Christina, comes out of the woodwork and, like, it's like, who's 646? And I'm like, it's me, Karen. And then she's like, oh, so it's nice that you're talking to me again.
Ooh, you know,
yes. And I'm like, oh shit.
She
like,
came for your life. I saw that.
And you know what I mean? It's like, you know what?
Exposed.
Yeah, I appreciate you. You know what? You're calling me out. I'm not the best friend to, like, come to, like, because I'm really bad with keeping in touch with people, with responding to text messages. I'm the worst.
We know this.
You know? And, like, I appreciate Christina for, like, being like, oh, so you're talking to me again. Okay. You know, like, calling me out.
And like, I can tell you how Christina would have said it. She's like, oh, okay, so so you're gonna, so you're alive again, so you're answering me again. Oh, that's really funny. Like, she would have a smile on her face.
Yeah, right. That's exactly my point. Yeah, exactly.
Good to know.
Yeah. So, you know what? Like, yeah, we do need our friends who are honest about, interactions.
Well, we love our friends who aren't honest, too.
I mean, we do.
We love our party friends. We love our friends who enable us. We love them just as much as the people who can be honest. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think there are different functions for different people in our lives. Like, you know, I easily know I can call on a certain someone to gas me up and tell me, you know, I was in the right, even though I was in the wrong, you know, because to them, they're like, well, what do you need to hear right now? You know, and it's interesting because then you have to be able to assess like, well, I'm going to this person for X, Y, and Z, and knowing why you're going to that person.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I feel like we get afraid to go to certain people because we already know the answer. We already know how they're going to react. You know, back to siblings, you know, Karen, I know a lot about that conversation about money with siblings. So, you know, I know not to go to a certain sibling about it, but I know to talk to another sibling about it.
Yeah.
So, you know, I feel like we all play that game. We know what we need in a lot of ways. And so we kind of shape our interactions based on that. And I appreciate the people who, you know, can sift through that and can just tell it like it is. Like, I think we all need those people in our lives too, you know.
Yeah.
Do you know what kind of friend you are?
It depends on who you ask.
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to think I'm a good friend, but I know for a fact, like, you know, like Karen, like I'm bad at keeping in touch,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and it's hard because there's some friendships where I know that will be cool if I don't talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can text you every once in a while if I have good news, if I just want to check in about the babies or something, and I know that once a month is cool, and that friendship's fine, just like that. And there are some friendships that they're like, you haven't called me, you haven't texted me, you haven't FaceTimed, and I feel bad. But being away from a lot of my close friends are in the Bay. And, you know, they're like, well, you're living your New York life, I guess. And I'm just like, that's not even what it is. I really am just busy.
Yeah.
But then I feel bad for being so busy that I can't stay in touch, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's rough. I'd like to think I'm the type of friend, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Karen. I think I'm the friend that I allow you to be like where you're at. Like whatever whatever energy you have, like if you want to shoot the shit, that's awesome. If you want to cook, let's cook. If you just want to sit in silence, we could do that. If you want to write poetry, I feel like I'm pretty flexible. I like to meet people where they're at, but that's probably my counseling background too.
Okay. When's your birthday?
Oh, you want to take a guess?
Ooh. I'm gonna ask you later. I'm gonna ask you later because I'm feeling some Gemini energy. Like, I don't think it's your sun sign, but I think it might be like your rising or something. Like, there's definitely an air sign that's like there. I was gonna say Aquarius, but I don't feel like you're like extremely independent, and I feel like Aquariuses are usually like that. But I would have to know. Like,
yeah, Karen knows. I think.
I do know. I think. Let's just say Tony Lynn's on the cusp of stuff.
Is it Cancer Leo?
Oh my God!
Oh! I love Cancer Leo cusp.
Oh my God! I feel like Cancer Leo cusp always trying to say I'm more Leo, but I'm like, no, you more Cancer.
At my older age, I can say I'm definitely sensitive. Yeah. Wow, I got read.
Good for you.
Look at you, Nicole.
And I think, like, do you know your rising?
I don't. I have it written somewhere.
I want to find out your rising because I would say, like, I would assume it's an air sign. So I would like to find out.
Completely.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah.
Reading people. That's what the show's going to be.
I'm very intuitive. I'm an ENFP.
What kind of friend are you?
Oh, I'm also extremely flexible. I'm a Gemini, so I can go into a lot of different types of friendships. But I find myself, sometimes I like look above my interactions with people and I'm realizing that I'm kind of like sticking people to like be more vulnerable. I'm like, tell me more in like my little subtle way of like, give me more information.
Connections to be deep.
Yes. Yeah. I really identify with this quote from Anais Nin. I don't know how to say their name, but that I identify with mermaids because I can't be superficial. Like, I need to be like in the depths with you. Like, I need to know what's like real. I hate small talk. I remember like when I first started law school and like the same conversation over and over of like, where are you from? Where did you go to school? Blah, blah. I'm just like, I don't care. I don't care. So, yeah. I do like giving advice, but if people don't want it, I'm usually want to like, okay, I'm going to stay tight-lipped about how I feel. I'm just going to listen.
Yeah. But you'll have your opinion.
Yeah, I'll have it. It's there.
Definitely do.
I always have my opinions. My opinions cannot be stopped.
Yes.
And I'm just like, okay, I'll tell David about how I really feel about this later. But, yeah. So, where are we at?
Yeah, I want to know, Karen, what kind of friend you are.
Oh,
let's see if
well,
you're
before
spot
we
on.
wrap up, I think I'm a bad friend. Honestly, I don't think I'm a narcissist, but I feel like I fail people a lot in friendships because I can't be who they want me to be and what they need, and I'll own up to that. I feel like I can be a friend who I feel like I'm a good listener.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like you can like talk to me like talk my ear out, like, you know what I mean? I wish I could be the type of friend who'd be like, no, you need to like cut that shit because that's really bad for you. Like because I see a lot of my friends like going through stuff, and I want to be the person to be like, oh my God, just stop that, like stop.
You know,
but
what's
I'm
funny?
not that kind of person.
You do say that, and to me, all you have to say is Tony, and
and
I know what that means.
Tony.
That's all you say.
Oh well,
And then I
nice.
know I need to reassess.
Oh, well, that's good. That's really good. I really don't know. I feel like friendships are very sensitive to me because I feel like I have a lot to learn as a friend, so I don't even know what kind of person I am as a friend.
Yeah, me too. I think all of our friends would say something different depending on what kind of connection you have, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's the beauty of friendship.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I can get shit done. Like, if you're a friend that wants to, like, do something creatively, like, I will be there for you and, like...
That's how we flourish.
Like, collaborate, yeah. Like, I love, like, collaborating in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
And also, like, basking in, like, aesthetics. Like, you're a good person. And, like, if you want to see a movie that, like, not everyone's going to be into, or, like, go to a museum that might not everyone is, like, interested in, like, she's going to support that. She's like, yeah, like, I'm about it.
I could be a friend who, like, takes your good, like, Instagram photos. Because you need a friend like that, too, to, like, pull you up.
Like,
you know what I mean?
What I loved about our Cancun trip, we went to Cancun last year, and what was so amazing is, like, I didn't have any guilt about, like, her taking pictures for me, because she, like, I would do the same for her, and we were just, like, completely fed each other's vanity.
Yeah,
like
we know what we want. Like, we know what we came here to do.
Yes! Let's not play any games. Like, we know
Take
exactly what
photos.
we're trying to do. Yes! Oh, that was
Yeah.
such a good time.
This is a great friendship episode.
Yes!
Thank you, Tony, for being
And we
here.
had champagne. You all were so sweet.
Yeah.
Yes, buzz.
I want to shout out to Pineapple Express and Broad City because those are great friendship movies that I love. Pineapple
it.
Express needs to be another episode, I guess.
We're gonna do a
And
420
Broad
episode.
City too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
there
Pineapple
you go.
Express, Broad City would be great topics for that.
Oh, yeah.
But also great friendship
Yeah.
that I admire.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Jay Zabrick for hosting us and producing our show today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tony Lynn Sadeko.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. Thank
What's
you,
your
my friend.
Instagram, Tony Lynn?
So, you can find me at Tone on Top, TONEONTOP. But yeah, you can also follow the buzz at First Person PBS right now. I'm really excited about that, and I hope we get the Emmy.
Yes. Good luck.
Congrats.
Is there like a red carpet situation?
I think
or?
so. I think it's happening on May 4th.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping to be on that red carpet.
Yes.
A little step and repeat would be fun. It'd be a new thing for me living here in New York. It'd be nice to experience.
I want Versace to dress you.
Oh, you go tell them.
Yes, I'm gonna at them. I'll be like, Versace, did you know about Tony Lynn? I don't know anybody's gonna be able to carry off these fashions like Tony
Custom
Lynn can.
suit.
That's
That's
right.
The next step, a custom suit. So
Yes.
you don't know.
Versace.
Hey.
Hey. You can follow me at Nicole Sophia. You can follow the show at Cinema Therapy Show. And you can follow Karen at KJ Pamgantihon. Yeah. So thank you for listening and catch us. Are we going to be recording on Sunday?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
catch us on Sunday.